SEBI's circular banning the 313 shell companies from trading has rocked not just the capital markets but was debated even in Parliament today, with Finance Minister Arun Jaitley asserting that shell companies are going to route illegal money. And even though JK Infra and Prakash Industries got a stay from the SAT, a mega ET Now investigation has revealed some damning evidence. Vijay, Ganeshan, Iyer, my colleague, is waiting by with these mega exclusive details. Vijay, what is the investigation throwing up prima facie? What was the modus operandi like?
Aisha, firstly, let's go to the investigation that we managed to do through all the investigation reports which have been submitted by various investigating agencies. Clearly, what we found is PACL is a company which we know that SEBI has come down heavily for collecting public money under the collective investment schemes. Now, what the investigations reveal is that PACL was the fountainhead company which was investing, or rather giving contracts to company like J. Kumar Infra and Pasanaut developers. What we understand is that these contracts were given to J. Kumar Infra and Pasanaut developers just to boost their balance sheet or increase their turnover. In turn, these companies like J. Kumar Infra and Pasanaut developers were giving subcontracts. So clearly these were only transactions being done on paper. It was all bogus, fictitious transactions only for paper consumption. Now, having said that, we all know that PACL is one company which clearly owes thousands of crore rupees to various investors, and clearly now under Supreme Court monitored SIT, all the attachments, auctions and refunds are being monitored. So clearly PACL is emerging as the fountainhead company which indeed put its money to launder via these companies, and that is why this crucial investigation now, MCA coming out with these 313 shell companies, including these companies in listed space, are important ones, and that is where SEBI also came down heavily, banning the trade, although we know that SAT has removed trade restrictions on some companies, but clearly the whole issue of money laundering, that is where these shell companies were used, and the big news and the investigations reveal that clearly there are many tough questions to be answered by these companies. Although we had sent query to J. Kumar Infra and Prakash Industries or even Pasanaut developers, they are yet to come out and give out their point of view. So clearly this was a coordinated investigation, and that is where people were, perhaps for the first time, corporates got caught off guard, and clearly they never expected that SFIO investigations reports by MCA will be shared with SEBI and SEBI will come into the picture. Quickly, Aisha, I believe we also have some experts waiting by. If we could go to them. We have with us Mr. Saxena, former IT Commissioner. Mr. Saxena, a very good afternoon. This is Vijay Iyer from the Mumbai newsroom. If I could ask you, sir, clearly once again it's emerging how perhaps this time PACL, which is always and has been under the investigating scanner, and we all know Supreme Court has also taken cognizance of this, has now emerged as a company which actually laundered its money by using companies like J. Kumar Infra and of course Pasanaut developer Prakash Industries. How are you looking at this? Clearly the companies are crying foul, but the fact is they have to also answer many questions.
Yeah, actually, as I told earlier on ET Now, is that these companies had been investigated by the investigation wing of the Income Tax Department, and we had shared our findings with MCA, and MCA in turn had shared its finding with SEBI. So this is what has prompted the action against these companies. I may tell you that this investigation has been in progress for some time, but the cooperation which you have referred to has come about only now.
Mr. Saxena, if you could just hold your thoughts. We also have Mr. Subramaniam. So if I could get you at this point of time, clearly the companies are crying foul. They went to SAT and said principle of natural justice was not followed. Clearly SEBI was very arbitrary in following their measure. They got some reprieve, but the fact remains that these big corporates also have a lot of questions to be answered, because clearly PACL is one company which perhaps is now being monitored by a Supreme Court appointed SIT, and clearly SEBI has come down heavily via CIS regulations. So clearly J. Kumar Infra or Pasanaut developers or Prakash Industries and other companies have many questions also to answer, although they may cry foul on the SEBI order.
No, one has to distinguish between investigation into the books and money laundering. Nobody is questioning that. And two is stopping of trading in a stock exchange. Those two are completely two different issues altogether. And SEBI, by actually banning of trading, is not even disclosing or making other investors aware as to what was the exact intent behind why the banning of trading was done. And so that is the reason why, the challenge in the SAT or commentator, I am saying that it is unfair on and non-transparent manner in which SEBI went about it. Well, if money laundering was the issue, the company should have been investigated and that disclosure should have been made. And it is not clear whether SEBI actually is investigating the books of these companies that you now referred to. So, obviously, nobody is questioning that money laundering should not be investigated. But the manner in which this trading has been abruptly halted and it has affected minority shareholders for sure. And that was unfair to the market participants and capital markets in overall. Companies, if the books have been cooked up, as you rightly said, and there has money laundering, that is a matter to be investigated at the company level, not penalize the capital market participants.
I should also mention here that clearly SEBI has indeed issued notices to these companies asking to prove and put their side when it comes to getting contracts from PACL and so on and so forth. Mr. Saxena, if I could get you in at this point of time, perhaps many investigations used to happen, but that used to happen in silos. Perhaps this time it is a coordinated effort. Clearly, we all know it's coming from the top. Demonetization happened in December, then all the investigations followed thereby. This coordinated effort is something that perhaps we have not witnessed. You being a former IT commissioner, how do you see? Clearly, that is where these investigations of money laundering and using fictitious shell companies would be different this time because of a coordination that we are seeing among investigating agencies?
You are right. Actually, if we work in silos, then what happens is that there is a large time gap and many of the errant companies go scot-free. So to stop it, this kind of action is needed, and it is a very welcome initiative that now information sharing is being done regularly and such things are coming out.
Mr. Saxena, if I could also ask you, sir, going forward, what do you think should be the next steps by investigating agencies? We all know SEBI has taken this drastic step of banning these 313 companies from trading. But going forward, how do you see that investigations should be taken place so that a logical conclusion is reached in all these cases? Because there are indications that I have also understood that perhaps J. Kumar Infra is a company which is also subcontracted something to a company of Sahara Real Estate, which clearly we all know how Supreme Court has come down heavily and now everything is under the auctions of these companies. So clearly, how do you think things should be taken forward to reach the logical conclusion by investigating agencies?
Actually, there should be a meeting of minds at the operational level. We gave them the results of our investigation, but actually they should be part of an ongoing investigation. And if investigation is complete, then there should be a meeting between all the agencies and they should thrash out the issues which each one of them can address, because in that manner a sort of holistic approach can be taken towards the money laundering, tax evasion and such other things.
Mr. Subramanian, if I could get you at this point of time, you said yes, this was perhaps a disruptive circular that SEBI should put out, perhaps some thought should have been given. But sir, going forward, we know now it's going to be a Pandora's box being opened. Today again 2 companies have got a reprieve and against SEBI order from SAT. But going forward, say from a market perspective, how do you think these issues should be handled? Perhaps one option being promoters' shares should not be freezed and they should not be allowed to sell in the market, and the rest of the shareholders trading should be allowed. What is the way forward? Because clearly it's going to not be an easy issue even for SEBI to handle. At the same time, the companies now find themselves in quandary.
No, you are right. I mean, so the action should not be to stop the trading of in these securities. The action should be at the company level. So SEBI should make a disclosure that this is the company we are investigating and this is the nature of our investigation. Or even for that matter, any authority. It is like an IT raid conducted on any company. So the moment an IT raid is conducted on the corporate office of a company, it is a disclosure known to everybody and all investors can then choose to react. And as you rightly said, freezing of promoter shares and those kind of things could be done to stop the promoters themselves trading. But at least allowing trading allows other investors to take an informed decision on whether they want to continue to hold the stock or whether they want to sell in the marketplace. So that is you cannot stop the liquidity or the trading in the stock market because it is only a price effect, right? I mean, today some share may tank 50%. So be it. But and also the nature of investigation, as you rightly said, if it's IT, ED, everything involved, that should also be disclosed. There was no disclosure and it came very abruptly. So that I think is unfair to minority investors.
Mr. Subramaniam and Mr. Saxena, thanks for joining us in this big breaking story. Clearly, as the guests are also pointing out, it would be interesting to see what is going to be SEBI's next move because SAT clearly one by one is removing or staying SEBI's order when it comes to restricting the trade of these 313 companies. So all eyes on SEBI's next move. Would SEBI look at option of moving Supreme Court because SEBI clearly is challenging the jurisdiction of SAT to hear or challenge this particular circular put out by SEBI. So this is the big breaking news that we are bringing you at ET Now. Going forward, we would get you more updates on the same story. Thank you for joining us in this breaking news.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/ETNow.